Welcome to Aging Insights. I'm Melissa Chalker, Program Manager of the New Jersey Foundation for Aging. The Foundation's mission is to enable seniors to live with independence and dignity in their communities. Aging Insights is produced by the New Jersey Foundation for Aging to provide information and resources to boomers, seniors, and caregivers. Each program that we have developed over the last 2 years has a primary focus to connect boomers, caregivers, and seniors to community-based programs and to address relevant topics. On a number of programs, we have talked about connecting seniors to services that can help them age well. A few times that has included talking about nutrition services. Nutrition is vital to healthy aging and for seniors on a limited income. Programs that help them afford and obtain healthy foods can make a big difference in their lives. Today we have two guests who will provide us with information about food and nutrition programs available in New Jersey and also share details specific to seniors looking for assistance with food and nutrition. Our guests are Lisa Pitts, Program Director of Advocacy, Outreach, and Education of the New Jersey Anti-Hunger Coalition, and Diane Riley, Director of Food Advocacy for the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. Thank you both for taking the time to join us today. I really appreciate it. I think it's valuable information to share with our audience. Lisa, I did want to start with you, and it's been a while, but some of our guests who have stuck with us may remember that you did join us early on in the program. So I thank you for coming back. And could you just remind the audience what the New Jersey Anti-Hunger Coalition is?
Sure. Thanks for having me back. The New Jersey Anti-Hunger Coalition is a statewide advocacy organization. Our mission is to end hunger in New Jersey through advocacy, activism, and education. We work to try to preserve and strengthen federal feeding programs like SNAP, formerly known as food stamps, and other nutrition programs.
So could you give us just a brief overview or some idea of what some of the current advocacy efforts are?
Sure. We're working on a lot of different advocacy efforts right now, but the biggest one we're focused on at the moment are the proposed cuts to the SNAP program. Again, SNAP is formerly known as food stamps. It stands for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. And right now there are billions of dollars in cuts on the table. Both the Senate and the House are proposing these cuts. If these cuts go through, they will impact millions of people in our country, hundreds of thousands in our state, and specifically with regard to seniors and people with disabilities, over 195,000 seniors and people with disabilities will be impacted by the cuts.
And these are cuts that are based on the Farm Bill, which is currently being discussed in Washington, is that correct?
That's correct. Okay. The Farm Bill is being reauthorized. They've been in discussions about the bill now for quite a while, well over a year. And what keeps coming up is how to reduce costs by slashing the SNAP program.
So if our viewers are concerned about cuts affecting them or just in general want more information or want to help, they can reach out to the New Jersey Anti-Hunger Coalition for more information?
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll definitely provide them with the phone number so that they know how to reach you and can ask about that. You've mentioned SNAP and let our audience know that that is formerly known as the Food Stamp Program. Can you give us a little bit more information about how that works?
Sure. SNAP has changed a lot over the years, not only in name. Now you can apply online. It's a very easy application. It's much shorter than it used to be. People no longer have to go into the county Board of Social Services to apply for SNAP.
But they still can if they want to.
They can if they want to. People can get a telephone interview. There's a lot of outreach efforts going on, which Diane will talk about, all across our state, which make it easier for seniors to access the program. The benefits now come on a debit card, so people can go to the grocery store and buy groceries and swipe the card just like you would a debit card. It's very discreet, and it's an excellent program that provides cash benefits on the card for people to use to purchase nutritious food.
And so you've mentioned the debit card, which I think we've talked about before, that it's a switch from what some of our older viewers may remember as an actual stamp, which is where the name came from, and kind of a stigma involved in that. So the idea that you can receive this benefit on a debit card, and unless somebody really knew what it was, wouldn't think you were using anything other than your bank card to purchase your groceries at the store.
That's exactly right.
You mentioned, the application. So obviously when you fill that out, there's a lot of information needed on there, such as your income and other information. And I believe for seniors, there's some additional information that might help them get a qualify or get a bigger benefit. Is
That's
that
correct? That's correct. Seniors and people with disabilities can take medical deductions, which other people cannot. And for seniors, this is very helpful. Medical deductions can include anything from their actual Medicare deduction that they get out of their Social Security check.
So their premium for
Their
Medicare.
premium, yep. Any supplemental insurance that they're paying for out of pocket. Any medical cost over $35 per month that they're paying for out of their pocket, they can take as a deduction. Anything related to dental care, dentures, anything related to hearing aids, glasses and eye care, co-pays, prescriptions, hospital visits, attendant care, even transportation to doctor's appointments if in fact they take public transportation or they can document how much they used in gas. So it really can make a difference whether or not a senior qualifies, and it can certainly make a difference in terms of how much benefits a senior gets.
So we do know, based on what you've told us, that people receive that cash benefit via the debit card, and that can range depending on all of these factors, how much they get. But
Right.
minimum is $16, is that correct?
The minimum is 16. There was just a cut that went through November 1st, so now actually I believe it's 15.
Okay.
Most seniors get more than that. However, what we would often tell people during our outreach efforts is that even for $15, if you don't use the whole $15 in a month, you can roll it over for up to 90 days or 3 months.
Right.
And so then you have more benefits available to you. And really $15, especially for someone who lives alone, can buy quite a few nutritious
Sure,
items.
it's still a deduction in the out-of-pocket cost you have at the supermarket.
Absolutely.
And might allow you to spend that $15 somewhere else that you might need it.
That's correct.
In the opening of the show, I did talk about how there are seniors out there on a limited income and that these programs are particularly beneficial to them. In our report, the New Jersey Elder Economic Security Index report, we do talk about the cost of living for seniors and just how many of our seniors in New Jersey are struggling to make ends meet. I know I've told you the story off camera, but we've recently received a letter in the mail from a woman that is on our mailing list at the foundation who let us know that she's really struggling at this point in time. After living in a particular community for a long period of time, she had to move several towns over to get affordable housing, which she's extremely grateful to have that benefit. But she's struggling because she's receiving only $761 a month for her Social Security. I know in the report we talk about the average for a woman being around $14,000. But the idea that someone is out there receiving less than that, receiving only $700 and some odd a month to live on when her rent is $650 some. So she's really out there living on this $100 a month to cover her other costs, which is a bit of a struggle for her. But she's lucky enough to participate in the SNAP program and receive a $189 benefit, which is at that top mark, in terms of the average, based on the minimum and the average and the high point of people on that program. So she's grateful to have that benefit, but she still is struggling with that $100 to cover her other costs. So there are other programs, though, out there besides SNAP that help people. In particular, the Farmers Market coupon program, that's just for seniors, right?
That's correct. Just quickly with SNAP, there is, again, it is based on income eligibility as well.
Right.
It's for a household of one. It's a gross monthly income of no greater than about $1,772.
Right.
Some other programs also have income eligibility criteria, others do not.
Right.
The Farmers Market does use some income eligibility criteria. It is right along the same line as SNAP. The way that works is people can apply through their county office on aging, and they get vouchers, and they usually will give them out for $5 vouchers for a total of $20, and farmers market coupons that seniors can use, go to the farmers market and buy fresh produce. Usually that program starts up sometime in June and July.
Right. So it obviously coincides with the farmers market season. Here in New Jersey, we don't have warm weather all year round, so the farmers markets usually have a seasonal time period. And so it's great that seniors can use this voucher because the farmers market, they don't have a debit card machine. They're not taking your SNAP benefit necessarily, although some of them now are.
Yeah,
some of them
they
now
do.
are. But it's great to be able to have that voucher from the Office on Aging to use during those summer months for some fresh produce. So we definitely want to focus on the healthy aspects for our seniors. So I want to thank you, Lisa, for sharing all of those tidbits with us about SNAP and some of the advocacy efforts of the New Jersey Anti-Hunger Coalition. Diane, thank you also for joining us. And before we kind of jump into some of these other things, could you let the audience know what the Community Food Bank of New Jersey does?
Yes. Well, the Community Food Bank of New Jersey started about 30 years ago. It's when all of the consciousness raising, we're hearing talk about the poverty and that there were actual hungry people here in this country, and many people got involved at that time. My CEO being one of them, and she started collecting food from out of her station wagon and giving it to neighbors, and then she started collecting it and storing it in her basement, and then she got a room at the church, and so on and so forth, and now we're a large nonprofit, and that happened across the country. So what our core business is that we collect food, we get donations, we buy food, we have business connections, we get food, and then we distribute that food now to feeding programs in New Jersey that actually serve clients, and that's our core business. We have about 1,000 feeding programs that we support, and we serve about 900,000 clients a year, and through those programs, and about 40 million pounds of food gets distributed. We do have mobile pantries now where we go out and we directly serve clients, and we have a lot of other programs, one being the SNAP Outreach Program, another one being the Commodity Supplemental Food Program, which is a government program that we facilitate. So that's specifically for seniors.
Right. So I want to just go back and focus on those feeding programs that you referenced in the beginning. Basically, you collect food at the food bank, and then it's distributed out to what feeding programs are?
Food pantries, soup kitchens, after-school programs, daycares, all of the above. So all of those programs that then actually serve clients in need of food assistance.
And then, as you mentioned, the food bank does a lot more than just that. I know that you have training programs and a lot of other great things. But you mentioned the outreach, which is something specific to seniors as well. That we'd like you to kind of share that with us.
Well, you know, about 3, 4 years ago, we started the SNAP Outreach Program because we know that in New Jersey there are all the people eligible for food stamps or SNAP do not get those benefits. They aren't applying, and across the country, that's about 70% of all those eligible do apply. In New Jersey, it's only 60%. So we got involved because we thought we'd go to people. So we'd go to first our food pantries, our feeding programs, make sure everybody's getting all the benefits they need, and so we started there. But now we go to libraries, we go to other community organizations that do benefits counseling and things like that. We try to actually be out there in the community talking to people about whether or not they qualify, and we help screen them, we help them apply online, as Lisa said, with that online application, and it really helps connect people, and we take the time to speak to them and sort of dispel those myths, like it's not a paper coupon and all of those things, and really do that. And last year we saw about 3,000 people through our outreach efforts, and we helped about 1,700 apply, and many of those are seniors, because seniors are underserved. So when I said 60% of those eligible actually receive SNAP benefits, in the senior population, it's only about 35%.
Right. So it is a great idea to go to where they are, and it was an obvious connection to start at the food pantries, because here's someone in line showing up there saying, I need help, and they may not have known about SNAP, they may not have thought they were eligible, or they may have heard that myth, I'm only going to get $16 or $15 dollars, and so for someone to be able to say to them, well, that's not necessarily the case, let's fill out this application and see what you might be eligible for. And particularly with seniors, you know, the online application might seem scary to those who are not comfortable with the internet, because there are still folks out there who don't want to be involved with that online community. And so the idea that someone could sit down with them and fill that out is probably comforting.
And take the time. And spend time with them. Yeah, I thought of that when Lisa said that. I thought it is better than it used to be. The application is easier, but not for everyone. Yeah, not for everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
In addition to all this outreach effort, and knowing that, as you said, the seniors in particular are very low participation rate in the SNAP program, the food bank has come up with this great brochure, which you've brought along with you, which particularly focuses on seniors and talks about health. So it's that idea that fresh foods are really something that can benefit seniors, because maybe they have diabetes or heart disease, and their doctor told them they should be eating more of these things, but they go to the supermarket and it's hard to buy them, right?
Exactly.
So this brochure kind of outlines how SNAP can help with that. Is that the goal here?
Exactly. And it came about because when I spoke to people, I called them up and I said, how is SNAP helping you? And these were people we had helped a few years ago. And what I kept hearing from people over 50 was, I have diabetes, it helps me eat better. And it really helps me buy more nutritious food. And not from one person. I heard that from many people, and I thought, well, that's a message that really should be out there.
Right. So I think it's a great tool, and it does have right on the inside also, so people who might pick it up and say, oh, well, I couldn't possibly qualify for this. It does have those income guidelines that Lisa referenced. So it goes, from one household, and then, if you're in a 2 or 3 person household, it lets you know what your income guidelines might be. So it gives people an idea of, oh, hey, you know what, maybe I can apply for this program, and maybe it can help me eat healthier, so that the next time I go to the doctor, they see an improvement, or they might, have, weight loss or other benefits from it that might help their health, and something maybe their doctor or their family's been nagging them about.
Exactly. I know doctors are now writing prescriptions for healthy food, for people to get them thinking that they might want to do that and help with their health. So this was the same kind of idea.
You also mentioned, when I asked you about the Community Food Bank, the commodities
the
program.
Commodity Supplemental Food Program.
Okay, so that is something that those of us in the network refer to as
CSFP.
So again, tell us what it stands for.
Commodity Supplemental Food Program.
Okay.
And that's a government program, and one of the really good government programs. It's not an entitlement, which means that it's a fixed amount of money that's put aside for that program. So there is a fixed amount of people it can help. So in New Jersey, we serve almost 3,000 seniors with that program.
Okay.
And as Lisa said, that guideline is a little bit different. It's 130% of poverty, or $15,000 a year that the income level is. But what that is it provides a box of food once a month that's $50 worth of food that costs the government $20 a box. So it's a really great program, and it gives them the staples: milk, peanut butter, tuna fish, all the cereal, oatmeal, things like that. And it's just enough food, and it really does help. And we go to sites. We go to senior center, senior buildings where people are. So they just have to bring the box up to their apartment. So it really helps them. Unfortunately, with the sequestration, those cuts did cut into that a little bit. And also with the, the budget not being set yet, it's looking like about a 45 person cut this month to those 3,000 people we serve.
Wow.
So never mind the 200 people on the wait list for that program, but it's a great program.
So there is a waiting list currently for that program. So the people that are on it now, you said they go to a food bank and get the box?
No, we go to their sites. We go to their buildings.
Sites. Okay.
And we serve them.
So this is a program that's mainly benefiting seniors that might be in a senior housing program?
Yeah,
okay.
Primarily.
So how would they apply if there were, or get on the waiting list for that?
They would contact the food bank. They could contact their local senior housing to see if that's something that, if they've seen that it's there. They would, when it's being served, they could put their name on a list there.
Okay.
If it's not in the building, that's a kind of a bigger hurdle, because we, as I said, we don't have extra slots, but they could still put in their request for that, and then maybe that would be a building we might consider.
Sure, sure. And so we should probably mention that on the back of the brochure, there is the 1-800 number for the Community Food Bank of New Jersey, and you can call there to find out about the SNAP
that's
benefit.
Our SNAP 800 number. So they'll get someone who is very well versed in that program, and it's a bilingual staff member. So.
And could they also call this number to get information about the food bank as well? And they would transfer them to someone who could maybe talk to them about the commodities program, or find a food pantry in their area if they don't know where it is.
Absolutely.
Things like that. Are there other programs that you can think of that are available to seniors that might help and aid in some of this? For a senior that might be on the lower end of the SNAP spectrum, if they're getting a little less, and they need to supplement that. Are there other things that they can participate in?
Yes, not with the food bank. It's basically food pantries, CSFP, SNAP, but we do have Meals on Wheels. That's a wonderful program. Many seniors benefit by having a hot meal brought to them daily. And the commodity, it's congregate feeding programs, which are throughout the state, and that's again in aging services. They go to places for lunch, and that really helps, because people have a lot of support socially
Sure.
with that program, and that's a great program.
Sure.
Yeah, those are all good.
Right. So we have kind of talked about, seniors on a limited income and what they can do to really remain healthy and make sure that they're receiving adequate nutrition. And you've told us about some really great programs. And so I just want to make the differentiation between some of them. So the farmers market coupons and the congregate meal programs, those are something that come out of their county office on aging. So viewers of this show will know that we always mention the county office on aging and give them the phone numbers for them. And so that's the number they should call if they're interested in finding out how to participate in a congregate nutrition program in their county, or to find out when the farmers market coupons are available and how to apply for that, right? Okay. And so the difference then is that things like SNAP, which I've talked about, and the commodities program, those are government programs that come down from the federal government, as opposed to through the county. Well, I guess they technically are still through the county, but a different agency. Is that right? So it would be through the County Board of Social Services?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. Great. So they would contact them in addition to contacting, say, either of your agencies for assistance.
Yeah, we would do the initial app, and then the county takes over. And but as Lisa said, a lot of those procedures have changed for the better. And if it's a person who is disabled or an older person, they can get a phone interview very often. Some counties are mailing EBTs, so they may never have to go to the county office.
Right. So depending on their county, if they're able to do the online application with maybe assistance from your outreach program, and then they get a phone call to verify that information on the application,
Send their documents.
and then send their documents in, and then the card comes to them in the mail if their county participates in that program, and so they've never had to go anywhere.
Exactly.
Right. That's great. But some counties do still require you to show up in person to pick up the card. Is
Yes.
that correct? Okay. But that's, I believe they do that for security purposes, so
Yeah,
the card
it's
doesn't
all-
get intercepted by someone else. And
They take their job very seriously,
Sure.
as they should.
as they should, sure. So I know in a lot of your advocacy work, you've both worked on looking at streamlining this process. And as you said, the application has gotten easier. We've made some headway in those areas. But can you give us an idea of how long the wait might be at this point once you've applied for SNAP? And I know it varies. I know it varies in counties, and I know it's been a sore
It
subject
really
in
depends
some
on the
areas.
county.
Totally
but,
dependent on
what
the
can
county.
people really expect?
Well, it should be 30 days. That's the law. That's the regulation.
Right.
So it should be 30 days. Sometimes it is 30 days, and sometimes less than that. We've actually had some counties, and counties are working on streamlining the processes and improving that greatly.
Right.
But we've also seen cases where it's months.
Right.
So.
So I just want to make sure our audience understands, though, that if you do apply and you're deemed eligible the day that you apply, if it takes that long for the benefit to get to you, there's a back benefit.
Yes,
Is
they
that
will
right?
get those retroactive benefits. It's just a matter of the processing taking that
Right.
long. From the day they apply.
From the day
If
they-
they're approved, they will get those retroactively on their card.
Right. So if you've applied and it takes 2 months to get the card, there'll be 2 months worth of benefits on that
Right.
card when
Right.
you receive
Right.
it.
That's exactly
So
right.
that's something else beneficial, I think, for seniors to
yeah.
know if they're concerned that they're only going to get the minimum or close to the minimum benefit, to know that that first time you're going to be able to maybe go to the store and stock up on some staple things that you can have in the house, things that don't go bad,
Right.
like the tuna fish or
Right.
peanut butter things you mentioned that might come in the commodities box. These are things they could stock up on when they get that initial back benefit if they had to wait. That's one maybe positive side of having to
Right.
wait, is that you'd get that back
Right.
benefit. At least
Right.
you know that it's coming.
And
Right.
it is retro from the date that the application
Yes.
is submitted. So
Right.
if they were to do an online application, either with a family member or someone who's, supporting them, or if they were to reach out to the food bank, either way, from the date that that application is sent, they would get retro benefits.
Right.
If they're
And the
approved.
good thing about seniors is that when they have to recertify, it's a longer period of time. So because their income generally doesn't change, they won't have to fill out any more paperwork for a couple of years,
2 years.
theoretically. So that's good too. So once they get that application in and that they get approved, that's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Right. That's very good that you mentioned the reauthorization, because I forgot about that. They do have to, for the SNAP program, make sure that you're still eligible from time to time. But for seniors, as you said, many of them being on a fixed income, that doesn't necessarily fluctuate for them. So they've extended the
Yes.
period, right? Okay. That's very, very good to know. Speaking of that, it reminds me of something else I wanted to touch on, which is the application for the Pharmaceutical Assistance Program in New Jersey, PAD. And so a few years ago, they initiated on their application for that program and the renewal for that program, if you're already on it, a question that says, you may be eligible for the SNAP program. Would you like more information? And they can select yes or no. I've also been informed that they've added some more things to that application, and particularly to the renewal, knowing that people who participate in pharmaceutical assistance might be eligible for other programs. So they can now select on there that they might be eligible for nutrition programs, or that they might be eligible for utility assistance. And if they select yes, then they'll be sent information on how to apply for those programs. So I think there is a lot being done to help seniors connect with a lot of these benefit programs.
Yes.
As I mentioned, the Elder Index is something that we've been using at the foundation to really kind of push this effort to connect seniors to programs. So there are a lot of things out there that they can apply for, and it's great that there are organizations like yours that are out there to help connect them to these programs. So we greatly appreciate your advocacy efforts and having you as partners at the foundation. I know I mentioned the story about the lady who sent us the letter about her struggle, but can you think of a brief story about a senior that you've connected with, either of you, that you might like to share?
Yeah, there's a lot of stories. Everybody has a story. There was one senior in particular that stands out to me who was living in senior housing, subsidized housing, was getting really low Social Security benefits. I don't remember the exact amount, but it was similar to your story where she only had about $100 left, for all her other expenses. And she was very resistant to apply for SNAP, but through outreach efforts, we walked her through the process, and she ended up with $200 a month in SNAP benefits. And she was so overjoyed when she got the card, she cried. And she said her sister, who she was relying on to go to for a meal a couple times a week, was moving to Pennsylvania, and she was so panicked she didn't know what she was going to do. And now with SNAP, she's able to purchase her own food.
That's great. And I think it's a really great inspirational story that can really let our audience know that these programs are there to help them to do that, and that they're not alone. There are other people out there that are doing it. So thank you both again for joining me today. I really appreciate your time and information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So again, I would like to thank our guests for sharing their time with us today, and our viewers for tuning into the program. We hope you enjoyed it. Aging Insights is produced by the New Jersey Foundation for Aging, and to make donations to the foundation or to become a sponsor of the Aging Insights program, please go to our website at www.njfoundationforaging.org or call us in the office at 609-421-0206. We also have an online survey that you can take about Aging Insights that's on our website. Feel free to provide comments on this show and other topics that we should offer in the future. We want to remind you to find out about senior services in your area. Please contact your County Office on Aging, also known as the Aging and Disability Resource Connection in your county. You'll see a listing of their numbers on our website, or you can call the state hotline at 1-877-222-3737. Thank you for watching this episode of Aging Insights, and remember, aging is everyone's business.